Hey guys, so another month, time for another wave of those requested Let's Tries from Patreon. So we're gonna do something a little different this month, because it's October, and I like to make a little special event of it, or at least last year I did a little bit, and then I played Silent Hill last year. So I want to do more horror, even more this time. So what I'm gonna do, and this will be a little different, last month I alternated the Let's Tries that were requested by Patreon with ones that I chose. I'm not going to do that this month. This month I'm going to do all 10 of the ones requested by Patreon in a row, and then the Let's Try slot is going to go on hiatus for the rest of October, because I'm going to use that slot to play a horror game. And then when Death's Gambit is over, which should be soon-ish, it's not a huge game, that'll also be replaced by a horror game. And when when Human Resource Machine is over, which I think was yesterday or something, or whatever, I don't know when this game, I have to figure out when this video is going up. Well, it's October 1st, I guess. I'm gonna replace that with a puzzle horror game. Conveniently, Rusty Lake Paradox just came out, so that makes the first one easy, but it's gonna be interesting to see if I can come up with a month's worth of horror games that are horror puzzle games. I'm thinking like murdery escape room games, maybe just gothic and dark themed horror games. I know at least one, if nothing else, I know a few dark, creepy adventure games I can play, so that should be able to fill, yeah, I should be able to fill that slot up too. And basically anything that ends over the course of October, I'm going to replace with a horror game, and until that game is over. And if October's still going on, I'll play another game after that. And then once October's over, we'll play until those games are over, and then we'll go back to whatever those slots normally are, more or less. Really, all it really means is that the Let's Try slot will then return after the given slot. So that's our future. We're gonna do 10 days of requested Let's Tries, starting with this one, We Happy Few, requested by Jesse Miller on Patreon. And then I'm gonna play the other 9, then we're gonna play some horror games until November, basically. It'll be interesting, unless you hate horror games, in which case it's disappointing, but, you know, it's a nice, stupid, fun, seasonal excuse to change what I normally do for a little bit, change our focus. Also, 2 of my slots are kind of already horror games. We got Pathologic, which is horror, that just is a horror themed game, even though it's not scary actively. And Subnautica is scary, even though it's not actively a horror themed game. What is that setting it had? Smooth 22 to 62. What does smoothed mean? No, 60. I believe in you, game. You can figure it out. Weird. And max it all out. There we go. Yeah, at this point, I'm cool with somebody requesting this for a Let's Try, even though I think some people might not be psyched about it, because some people do want to see me play this game, but there are so many goddamn games, and I think this is going to ultimately be one of the ones I don't get to. And the not very positive responses from the audience and critics and so on are not making me be in a big hurry to try it out either. But I bet the intro is cool, so let's get in there. Yeah, I mean, the presentation's fantastic. Look at this place. It's just I hear that the systems are not great, unfortunately. Story mode, yep. Normal difficulty, sure. You enjoy a challenge, people will be suspicious of you, and you'll need to learn the rules to blend in. Okay. Let's start. Happy people have no past. Oh, it's like Fahrenheit. So this is gonna fuck with me a little bit, I think. So one thing that I was spurned to do, partly by the existence of this game, but also just because I keep playing 0451 style games, these Looking Glass style games, stuff like Prey and Deus Ex and Dishonored and so on. I finally read Fahrenheit 451, and yeah. Stuff like happy people have no past, immediately I'm like, oh shit, yeah, that's accurate. Fahrenheit 451 is a story about a society that rejects anything that makes them unhappy. Everyone's just supposed to be happy and thoughtless, and they watch garbage television all day, and they have no substance, and when you talk to them you can't even string thoughts together. There's no... They just they just want to latch back onto whatever the thing is that makes them happy, and they want to escape human interaction because that'll make them unhappy, and or it'll distract them from the things that make them not think. And they've burned every book, and if they find books in your house, they'll burn your house down. If you die, they immediately dispose of your body within minutes, and then your spouse just goes on forgetting your name and everything, and they just move on like it didn't matter. So yeah, happy people have no past immediately. I'm like, okay, yeah, I see the connection here. While I was playing 045, while I was reading Fahrenheit 451, just knowing about this game's premise without even having played it, I'm like, this actually might be the most closely related to that concept of anything that might be vaguely in that genre, because there's a whole genre that's vaguely named after that book, kind of, or some people referenced, or at least that book's used as a passphrase. And in fact, somewhere in this game there might be a lock somewhere you open with 451, because that's such a tradition. But they have more to, usually that genre has more to do with dystopia than necessarily this specific aesthetic and society. But this specific game seems to go for that exact source material.
Oh, heavens no. Oh, God. I should just take my joy, shouldn't I?
What happened there? He must have a tragic past. I don't know if we're playing as Percival or Arthur, but I think we're one of those two. And we have some kind of dark history that's brought up by anything that reminds us of that stuff. So we are the bad. Yeah, so much like in Fahrenheit 451, where the main character is a firefighter, but that society's version of a firefighter, which is people that burn books, not people who fight fires. Yeah, it's weird. We're somebody who specifically censors and redacts information that interferes with people's happiness. We have this drug that makes us happy forcefully and masks our memories and our pasts. And obviously the first thing you want to try is to remember and reject this society. But how does that work out for you?
Percy! Percy!
Arthur, where are you? Arthur!
What have you been up to? No one's seen you for hours.
Oh, nose to the grindstone, you know.
Then why haven't I heard a single whoosh through the door since 10 o'clock? Did you forget we're having Deirdre's birthday party?
Oh.
We've got a piñata.
Right. Brilliant. Of course.
Have you forgotten your joy?
Of course not. Snug as a bug on a drug.
Well, come on then, finish up.
Just have a few more pages. I know you're very busy.
Then don't take too long to finish.
Aha! The power cell's empty.
Well, what will you do?
I'll get a new one.
You just ate that off the floor. Ah. Can I turn subtitles on? Put game in HUD. Is there subtitles? Pause in background. Other things that aren't really that important. My goodness, there's a lot. I just want subtitles. No. Audio? Those aren't subtitles. Language options. Ah, language options. Boom, get up in there. Sound captions? Nah. That's unnecessary. Alright, spacebar to apply. There we go. Power cell. Let's stand up, figure out where to put this thing. Oh god, we're fast. We're very fast. You throw it away? You just throw it away? Oh, got the new one. Okay, cool. There we go, back to work.
There is now a curfew in effect at night. Any civilian on the street...
What are we going to do, Arthur?
We're brothers. We'll look out for each other. That's what we'll do.
Accept or censor it. Percival and Arthur Hastings were the surprise winners of the scrap drive. Arthur told the judges that his brother had a photographic memory. Percy knew exactly where all the old cars and prams and things were in the Garden District. Percival himself rarely speaks to strangers, apparently. The scrap would be melted down to be used to support the war effort against the Soviet Union, which is, by all reports, going splendidly. The brothers bought in a record 1654 pounds of scrap steel, winning them $50. Huh. Or 50 euros. Or pounds, I mean. Against the communism bond. The second prize winner went to Alan Unwin. Really, his name's Unwin, and he's the great who brought in 315 pounds. Jesus, we were overachievers. We could have won second place if we just split up. Like, we would have been first and second place. That would have been smarter, honestly. Oh, it's really confusing, too. Like, you're supposed to do happy or good things, like, happy or bad things, like, choose between those two things. Like, it's like, yay, we're winning! And like, oh, but we're just for the war. But the war is going splendidly! And all that other stuff. Yeah, I mean, except it's good news. It just triggers my history and my memories, but no one has to know that.
Yes. One could read that without a ripple in one's teacup.
How do you know what I'm reading? You don't even walk around this side of the screen.
I expect you in the conference room presently. Don't dawdle. You don't want to miss the piñata.
Wasn't Prudence supposed to be coming back today? I made her a welcome back card.
General Byng clarifies registration procedure. General Robert Byng, the municipal liaison to the Occupation Authority, appeared on Parade Street late last night to speak to a crowd of citizens urgently requesting clarification of the new child registration rule. As most Wellingtonians know by now, all children who are under the age of 13 by July 22nd must be registered by the authority. General Byng clarified that the deadline for registration is next Thursday. He refused to speculate on the rationale for registration regulation. I cannot illuminate the regulation any further because Colonel von Stauffenberg has not informed me of its purpose, stated the general. I imagine and hope that it has something to do with maintaining nutrition for our growing children in this time of scarcity, but the OA has not told me so explicitly. He reminded the crowd that the occupation has so far been extraordinarily orderly and peaceful, and citizens' continued obedience to legal orders of the OA is crucial to maintaining goodwill with our visiting. Blah. I mean, I haven't been really given rules about how to do my own job explicitly, right? No one actually told me. I mean, the game in the game didn't tell me. He apparently knows. Arthur Hastings, Department of the Employee of the Year, Department of Archives, Recycling and Printing, City of Wellington Wells. Can't believe it's so up on this happy pill that the town's called Wellington Wells. Oh, this room's obnoxious and I hate it. No, actually, it's not that bad. It's actually kind of nice. No. It's just the tone of knowing what this room represents that makes it seem bad. I mean, it's just, first of all, if it's about a law, should I not censor it? Don't you need this information? But it's a restoration machine, so this is old information. That's 1949, sorry. It's Friday, the 9th of October, 1964. So these are documents from like 20 years ago, right? Because that other one was my family, and something must have happened, and obviously we're not that age anymore. So it's not new, modern information. It's weird, old stuff that doesn't necessarily matter. So so I don't have to worry about the part where it's a new law, because that's no longer the case. Censor? Nobody wants to deal with that crap, right? Or am I wrong? I don't know. There's something papers, please, about this. How I'm processing documents for like a dystopian society. But I had a better idea of what the rules were with papers, please. Drug trials a qualified success, says Sir Robert. 3rd of March, 1952. The first round of trials of a new anti-melancholic medication. Ooh, it's the beginning of the thing I have been qualified success, stated Dr. Alexander Gross, acting head of the Melancholia Studies Laboratory at the Royal Victoria Hospital. The drug reduced melancholic feelings in 28 out of 30 despondent rats over a 20-day period. I like the idea that they somehow were able to isolate despondent rats. Like, oh, these are the specifically sad rats, and we need to fix those ones. Despondency can be induced in rats. Oh, I'm sad I asked that question. It can be induced in rats by repeatedly giving them electrical shocks. Oh, they just keep shocking them until they give up and don't care anymore. And then they try to fix them with a pill. Oh, great. I'm happy I'm reading this. Despondent rats take up to twice as long to navigate a maze. After administration of the drug, previously despondent rats regained up to 50% of their navigation speed before administration of the shocks. Oh, wow. So it doesn't even actually fix them, it just makes them a little better. How do you differentiate between that and, like, cocaine? The drug now has to be tested in human volunteers. Citizens who wish to apply as a potential volunteer, there is already a waiting list, can do so at the Royal Victoria. I mean, obviously we're going to censor our happy pills came from rat torture article.
Sure about that one.
Probably not a good one to keep around. Oh, I guess my job's over forever. Okay. Where's the music? Oh, there it is. Coming from up there. Yeah, one of many games that is noticeably BioShock inspired in a lot of ways. Although the white face masks definitely contribute a little bit. Everyone looks like they're like a splicer from pre the Fall of Rapture, which is not entirely accurate because before the Fall of Rapture they presumably didn't wear masks. They started wearing masks specifically because they were ashamed of themselves, as exposed in an almost embarrassing line of dialogue. Hey, the books don't repeat. That's cool. Not a lot of them around here, but you know they're not obvious. They're also modeled individually. It's not clearly like one solid block that has a texture thrown over it like books tend to be. Even those ones are like a stack of separate ones. That's neat. Should I search my own stuff? I don't know what I'm expecting. Oh, these ones don't work. Can I sit down? You bet you can. You are concealed. Celebrations planned for Joy Anniversary. Wellington Wells is preparing a special celebration commemorating the invention of joy. Geologic Society. Hey! Awards gold ribbon to Charles Hutton Lyell for his recent discoveries of seismology. For years, the citizens of Wellington Wells have complained that they become easily lost as of familiar landmarks appear to... I think they're saying that they probably move around. I can't see the rest of it now. Huh. Murder Mystery Merriment, Jack Worthington... Uncle Jack Says by Jack Worthington, guest editor Eleanor Porter. Did you overdo it? And then Lost and Found. Of course I'd open up a newspaper and the first thing I see is the Geological Survey. Okay. What was that? Beauty is truth.
Do you think the canister wonders what life's like outside the tube? Of course he'd have to break the tube to get out. Well, that would break it for everybody.
Yeah. That's more or less accurate. If you want society to be different, then you have to change society, but that means everyone who likes the current society is fucked. Pretty fucked. Noteworthy that it says beauty is truth and not truth is beauty. They're not saying that there's righteousness and truth and beauty in the concept of truth. No, the beauty becomes the truth. The thing that makes you happy, the thing that seems good, the thing you prefer becomes the truth. Emotion equals reality. Great. Great. This is uncomfortable. Blank, blank. Whoa.
Clive birth whistle. You're off at the party, aren't you?
Is that... Did somebody give him mail? Or... Restricted area. No unauthorized personnel beyond this point. I'm wondering if, what if Clive's not taking his joy? What if that is in the doorway to show that somebody opened the door? Which I've now exposed myself. And like that's... He jammed like his letters and like it might just be somebody gave him mail, but even then the fact that it's fell inside kind of exposes that I opened the door. But he might have intentionally placed the stuff in the doorway so it would fall on the floor so that he would know if somebody came in here or not when he was gone. I just stole those. Shit. That wasn't really... That's not what I meant to do. I, E, T, tab, shift, control. How do I inventory? How do I read those? J, journal. No? There we go. What button did I press? I don't know what button I pressed. Escape didn't get here. A letter from Miss Bing. Oh, look. Miss Bing has written Clive a letter. Dear Mr. Birtwistle, it is so thoughtful of you to suggest how best to arrange the department. I am always grateful for suggestions from junior staff on how best to do my job as director. However, I am afraid that it would be destabilizing to swap your office with that of Mr. Hastings. Fortunately, turnover in this department is high. If Prue doesn't return soon, I don't see why you couldn't have her office. In the meantime, I suggest you pop another joy, and you'll feel the sunshine on your face, whether you have a window or not. All the best, Victoria Bing, director. Take that, Clive, you little shit. Oh. Oh. Did it say that on the letter? Like, who's saying the stuff before and after? Is that me? Is that my reaction to him? Oh, hey, notes. Is that my It's notes. Ah, it's N. Okay. I thought they said they added to my journal, so I tried J, but maybe it was N. Can I walk across here? Is there a security system? Oh, broken beer. I threw it out the wall. Keep your chin up. I don't think that Clive is taking his, oh, nothing in there. I don't think he's taking his joy. I'm just gonna go out on a limb here.
Well, let's see what Miss Bing thinks of your work now, Clive.
Oh, you can intentionally sabotage his stuff. That'd be kind of messed up. Farm workers expected to return from Germany. With the last harvests in and frost painting the valleys of Thuringen, Wellington Wells' 129 volunteer farm workers are expected to return home within the next 2 weeks, states Sir Robert Bing. Each highly paid and well-fed volunteer worker replaces one of the German soldier heroically fighting communists in the Eastern Front. Unemployed men of Wellington Wells who are interested in volunteering for work in Germany in spring should contact Hauptmann Werner Ehrnhardt at his office at Waterloo House. Good? That's good, right? So, approve.
Right.
If I'm gonna start not taking my joy in trying to subvert the society or whatever, I shouldn't rat out the other guy that's more clearly not taking his joy. That just gets me, that just makes things worse and makes me a hypocrite. I'm really committing to this, huh? I didn't really realize he was gonna keep going. Taxi service restored on 3 wheels. Wellington Wells once again has taxi service, bicycle taxi that is. The enterprising young Nigel Hemmingford is now paying passengers across Parade Street. He's also willing to take up 2 customers at a time anywhere in Wellington Wells. It's the Wicker Man. Yeah, people like him. Approve.
That's a rather inconvenient bit of history.
Oh, is it inconvenient? I maybe should have read it a little closer. I'm kind of getting self-conscious about how much of this episode is being spent on the redactor I didn't really mean to do that for a half an hour. Wellington under reopens. Thanks to heroic efforts of Calvin Stauffberg's efficient mechanics, the Wellington Wonder will restore limited service. The following stations will be served from 1 hour to curfew ends. What, nothing's wrong about a place reopening, right?
I did that right.
Am I doing this wrong? I don't know. No one told me how to do this job anyway. I'm just gonna go now. See. There's this family, also covered in creepy things on their face.
That little shit. He wants my view.
Yeah, we know that. Handwritten letter. And here's a letter in what I am almost positive is Clive's terrible handwriting. Dear Director Bing, one of your employees is a subversive. He may even be a downer. I overheard him in the commissary telling a friend that he thinks this job, redacting old articles, is silly. And what's so scary about the truth? He's very tall and slim, with black hair and brown eyes and glasses. I know I should have asked his name, but I am a naturally shy woman, and then it leaves off. A shy woman? You? Are you, Clive? Or just a nasty manipulative schemer? Clive's a woman? Does it say that Clive's name? Mr. Oh. He threw the note away. Clive was trying to impersonate somebody else. I was like, is Clive the last name? But no, it's Mr. Birtwhistle. Clive Birtwhistle. Yeah, Clive was trying to impersonate a woman, like trying to impersonate one of the female people that work here in order to complain on behalf of somebody else. See, Clive's problem here is that he's probably a downer, as they call it. So he knows how downers think, but because he knows how downers think and what might signify a downer, that can give away that he himself is one, and he's trying to get rid of me because he wants my office because he's not taking the drug, so he wants the window to be able to get through all this stuff and feel sane because he has a terrible office and he's losing his mind. So he's trying to get rid of me so he can take over that place. So the irony here is I'm talking about not getting subversives caught, but he's one, and he's trying to get me caught. Although he's trying to get me caught when he doesn't know I'm one, because I just may be kind of started doing that today and never did it before. So I just became the thing that's like him, although that doesn't mean that he would necessarily be allied with me either. Either way, he's definitely going to know I went in there, because that stuff's all on the floor now.
Whatever happened to you, Prudence?
I'm just going to guess dead. That label's like scratched off, isn't it? These ones were, yeah, those are very obvious. So that one's been like scratched off. She's not here anymore. Hopkins Jones.
No, leave me alone. I took my joy. No, leave me alone. No. Oh, hi, Arthur.
Alright, well that was actively creepy. Let's not go in there. If they find out you haven't been taking your joy, they force it into you, evidently.
We seem to be a bit behind in our work now that you mention it.
What a creepy setting. I knew this part was going to be good. It's just everyone that I've talked to so far that's played this game is not a fan of the actual game part when that starts. So it's been a little lower on my priority list. But this is a very strong intro. It's a really cool setting. There's also just that trap where unfortunately just there's so many good games that even the ones that look promising or interesting, you can't play them all. And I've been facing that reality so much lately. Oh, is that across the, that's across the street. I'm like, what's up with this perspective? Yeah. Oh my god, it's always broadcasting.
About feeling malaise and lethargy. Now these are vague symptoms, and the first thing I can recommend to you is, if you're feeling a bit down in the dumps, pop another joy. Everybody wakes up feeling a little bit down sometimes. I call it waking down. And all you need to know is that you never have to feel bad about feeling bad. In fact, you don't have to put up with it at all. Being in Wellington Wells means never having to say, I'm sorry. Now, Thanks to modern English science, we have the perfect fix for the blahs. Never be afraid to up your joy. Only you know how much you need, or just ask a doctor and he'll fix you right up. Even if you've got to ask him to. But look, there are some things that joy won't fix, though it will certainly make you feel better about them. Let's say you feel perfectly happy, but you're just having a lot of trouble getting out of bed. What could it be? Ask yourself a few questions. Do you feel pain in your bones? Are you having trouble catching your breath? Do you find that you bruise easily? Are your teeth a little loose in their sockets and you're under 70 years old? Is your mouth often dry? Do you have scorbutic tongue? Other symptoms you might have are red or purple spots on the skin, especially on your legs that look like this. Do you find your muscles are sore even when you haven't been overusing them? Well, you may have scurvy. And congratulations, this is one of our traditional English enemies. And like all traditional English enemies, we beat it before, yes, and we'll beat it again. As you know, England has traditionally ruled the seas.
Oh, he's gonna go for a while, isn't he? Was the sword supposed to show somewhere? Those masks are horrifying. They're horrifying. Like, everyone's always smiling all the time already, but then they have horrible masks squeezed over your face, where it just forces this smile expression that's even more exaggerated and on top of what everyone's already doing, which is already a natural amount of creepy smiling. Where'd that come from? Are they throwing them over here?
There you are. You nearly missed the piñata. It's the most adorable Spanish custom. Uncle Jack did a whole show about it. You smash it until all the sweets come out. Come on, hit it! Hit it! Hit it!
Why do I feel like something horrible is going to be inside? It should have broken by now. Oh, is it going to be a real dog?
You are off your joy. Take one of mine. Oh my lord. He's a downer. Call security. We've got a downer.
How does... Oh, okay. How does that even work? God damn. I was like, how is he gonna fail to blend in that bad? And then that happens? The piñata is secretly not... It's not even that there was a dead thing inside of the piñata, it just was a dead thing. Oh shit.
Got a downer here, haven't we? Put that down! I'll fix you!
You smell gas?
Flaming Nora.
Forget him, there's no time!
Oh, they abandoned me. Because of something convenient happening. Happy is the past. Is the country with no past. It's generating the world. So yeah, I guess this is an open world survival game where the map is procedurally generated. And I'm like, oh. My immediate reaction is always, oh no. Don't make it procedurally generated. I'm currently playing 2 open world survival games, Subnautica and Pathologic, and you'll hear me constantly talk about how both of them are much better off because they're not procedurally generated. In fact, I feel like approximately 100% of people who play this game going in, they'd have to read somewhere that was procedurally generated to know, or they'd find out, you know, along the way, because anyone looking at this kind of game like, oh look, that looks like kind of like something like a little Bioshocky or something, or a Dishonored-ish. No one would think like, that must be a procedurally generated game. Oh no.
Christ, how far did those bastards chase me? There were bridges, weren't there? And tunnels. I'm pretty sure I'm not in the parade anymore. I don't even think I'm still in the village.
Damn, so you ran really, really far, apparently. Okay. Wear your safety helmet and gloves at all times. So I thought it would just be like, oh, your mood is hard to reinforce and you gotta trick people into thinking you're happy, but that was a hell of a thing. That's not a piñata, that's a dead rat. Was he hallucinating the rat, or was it really a dead rat they were really eating the innards of? Because that's some next level shit.
They seem to have locked me in. I suppose they were worried about the gas. Terribly thoughtful of them.
They locked me in here to die. And it failed. They failed. A little bit of coins. Such a pretty game.
And today the celebrity caller is going to be Dr. Faraday. Calling again, yeah. Well, that doesn't seem quite right, and nope. I believe I made a mistake. I've confused myself. The celebrity caller will be Marjorie Flowerdew. If you win the competition, Mrs. Flowerdew promises to come take a look at your flower garden, if you have one. If you don't, she'll let you clip a few buds from hers. Well, that certainly seems worth playing for, doesn't it? So, come on, get up, get dressed, and get out there. Don't...
He got confused about his own game. Ooh, there's a bunch of them here. Oh, some of them are new. Some of them just have stars even though I already had them and already read them before. What were you thinking? Well, Arthur, you've gone and done it, haven't you? Not only rather spectacularly quit your job, but you're a downer now. The townsfolk will unleash the hounds, or they would, if we hadn't eaten them 20 years ago. The wastrels do not seem terribly friendly. I hope they aren't really cannibals. Oh God, I'm one of them now, aren't I? I've got to get out of Wellington Wells. I've got to get over the bridge and off the islands, which means I've got to get back into the parade district, don't I? Which I was just chased out of. Brilliant. Hugh. Question. What in dog's name were you thinking? Answer. Percy. I saw his picture. From just before we put them all on the train. God, all that horrible grinding steel. And the screams. How he must hate me. Why did I tell the Jerrys? I was already 13. They were only off by 10 days. Why didn't I keep my mouth shut and get on the train and go off to Germany with him like I promised him? I can't remember. But I promised him. That's got to mean something. I've got to go find Percy, wherever he is, and make sure he's okay. Yes, how long have we been eating rats? Yeah, it's a real alarming part of this whole process, right? So... they shipped everyone younger than 13 off to Germany, I guess? Just all the children? So all the children are gone. Because I was... it sounds like I might be basically the youngest person in this entire city, going if I'm right about the assumption there, because I'm just 10 days past. I'm within a 10-day margin of error of being the age limit of whether or not they sent you off when they decided to do that, apparently. Tie a string. That's a tradition for remembering things, right? To Rupert Underhill, Station 4, from Jim Watt, Chief Engineer. Dear Rupert, are you quite certain Teddy's off his joy? Perhaps he merely forgot. You've got to look after your mates, man. Have you tried tying a string around his finger? That always helps me. Anyway, I can't reassign Teddy because I haven't got a replacement. All the juniors are off at Scargill. The subsistence has been severing all sorts of connections, and the motiline must flow. I really appreciate your sticking by your post. If we don't do our duty, who are we? But try the string around the finger. I feel certain you will manage the situation. All my best, Jimmy. There we go. Let's try to get into the world for even a second. A prolonged intro always makes it hard to get a glimpse at what the gameplay is like in one of these games. Much like a long tutorial. I've done less tries where I can't even finish the tutorial because it's just incredibly long, but this time I did do a little bit more time reading than I should have. That was an accident. Dirty bandage. Oh. Fuck. I think it says wakey wakey over and over again. I think it says Wakey. It's really hard to make out, obviously. Press read this time. There we go. Diary of Prudence Holmes. Was this a mistake? It seemed so clever to disappear at first, rather than trying to brazen my way across the bridge. After enough joy, they'd forget they'd ever known a Prudence Holmes. Beastly Clive would take my office, and they'd forget anyone else was ever in it. But now that I'm here, I wonder, should I put my trust in Mr. Kite? And where are his bloody instructions? In the abandoned house. Yes, but which abandoned house? They're all abandoned. And how do you deal with these wastrels? My God, they look like something out of Dante. We'd chase someone out whenever they wouldn't take their joy, but we never really thought about where they went. I knew we chased them out when joy made them sick, but I didn't know it was here to starve and weep and remember. I assumed they went to a sanatorium, a decent hospital. But I suppose that's what I wanted to believe. We were all complicit. We know about nothing, and don't want to remember. But we don't. My God, I can't wait to get to the mainland. Yeah, this is compelling. This is all right. This is all right. I think that's unfortunately about all the time we have time for this, though.
And she ran this way. I wonder if I'll see her again.
Where Prudence ended up. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe one day. Not very soon. Maybe I'll find some time for this. Or maybe Patreon will choose to do this for like a big series at some point, but I think that's about all the time we have for today. Right, if like I'm pausing on my whole shtick here because I've got too many things going in my head right now. Thanks to the developers for sending the code in. I've had a code for this game since its like early access period, but of course, with the suggestion of being an 0451 game or an RPG or anything vaguely in that territory, of course I want to play when it's actually done, although now I don't know if I'll ever find the time. God damn, why there's so many games. That list only grows every day. My to-do list grows faster than it shrinks every time. Thanks to Jesse Miller for requesting this game. If you want to check out this game, there's a link to the Steam page in the description. It's also on other consoles, I believe, like most of them, or at the very least the Xbox One and PS4. I think it's on both of those because it's Gearbox published and stuff like that. Aside from the game itself, it's worth a look reading that Fahrenheit 451 if you haven't already. And if you've played this game already and haven't read that book, it's probably even more worth reading that book. It's just an interesting thing. I only recently got through it because it gets referenced so often, and it is noteworthy. Also weird and unexpected and shorter than I thought, and a bunch of other things. I have mixed feelings about how it ends, but its depiction of a dystopian society is very compelling and interesting and related to this game, but its ending is odd, and I have mixed feelings there. But yeah, this has been We Happy Few. See you guys next time.